You could excuse Raptors fans for being a tad conflicted when they tuned in to Tuesday's Memphis Grizzlies vs San Antonio Spurs game. On one side, you had former Raptors icon DeMar DeRozan, teaming up with Jakob Poeltl, one-time big trade acquisition Rudy and Bryan Colangelo-era Dino Belinelli. On the other, popular big man Jonas Valanciunas, point guard Delon Wright, sharpshooter CJ Miles and Bruno Caboclo. Valanciunas stood out the most, scoring 23 points on 9 for 11 shooting, along with 10 rebounds in just 22 minutes. At one point, he even got up to force a DeRozan miss inside. Meanwhile, Caboclo rejected LaMarcus Aldridge spectacularly at the rim and also got one-time mentor DeRozan. DeRozan shot just 5 for 19, and Wright stuffed the stat sheet, and Miles had 10 points in the 108-107 thriller, with San Antonio coming out on top. Plenty of people were paying attention to the action back in Toronto. There weren't that many ex-Raptors. There was only 8, Raptors head coach Nick Nurse said with a laugh. And Stack, he added, referring to his former one-time fellow Dwayne Casey assistant Jerry Stackhouse, who also coached Raptors 905 and now is a Grizzlies assistant. It was interesting, right? Very interesting to watch them go at each other a little bit. I watched most of the game. Thought they all looked pretty good, and that's all I can say. It was interesting. Valanciunas was setting his trademark screens and hitting the glass well, and meshed nicely with Grizzlies star-in-waiting Jaren Jackson Jr. Valanciunas should be in the starting lineup before long. He uses his body efficiently. He's mobile, Jackson told reporters in Memphis. He knows how to play the game. You can see it out there. He flows right in with us. No hesitation or anything, so it's great to have him on the floor. As for DeRozan, he says he's still getting used to life as a Spur after spending so many years with Toronto. There's different elements you have to go through to feel more accepting, more appreciative of something, DeRozan said. I was one thing for a long period of time. So, you know, it definitely takes time, he told the San Antonio Express News. I wouldn't say I'm down, or how I was in the summertime, after the trade. For me it's just continuing to feel out everything, from the ups to the downs, he said. In some ways, the best way to learn things is to go through your adversity and struggle, because you know when you come out on top of it, it's going to be worth it. Finally, apparently, Caboclo is no longer 4, 3, 2, or even 1 year away from being ready for the NBA. The Grizzlies signed him to a deal for the rest of this season, as well as an option for next. NCAA Canadians, thriving. The Naismith Trophy list of the NCAA's 30 best players was announced this week, and Canadians R.J. Barrett, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Ignas Brazdeikis, Brandon Clark and Marial Shayok were all on the list. Barrett helped Duke to a monster comeback on Tuesday night from down by 23 points at Louisville. The number 2 Blue Devils looked down and out, but Zion Williamson, the likely number 1 pick of the draft, stepped up defensively and also had 27 points. Barrett made some good passes late as Duke made the latest game-time-wise comeback from a 23-point deficit in NCAA history. Mr. Triple-double Russell Westbrook won his MVP award largely on the strength of becoming the first player since Oscar Robertson to average a triple-double for a season, though his clutch play that year earned our vote. He hasn't been as good this year, and isn't even the best player on his own team. Paul George has had a season for the ages and is firmly in the MVP race, but is on a heck of a run. Westbrook has gone for a triple-double in each of his past 10 games, the most for anyone since 1984. Westbrook did it 7 times, twice in his MVP season, and Michael Jordan also had 7 straight triple-doubles in 1988-89. Wilt Chamberlain had 9 in a row in 1967-68. Speaking of triple-doubles, LeBron James became the 3rd Laker to ever notch one at Boston when he did it last week, joining Magic Johnson and Elgin Baylor. Around the rim, the Marc Gasol deal was only the 3rd trade ever between former expansion cousins Toronto and Vancouver, Memphis, and the first since the Rudy Gay trade 6 years ago. They never made a deal when the Grizzlies were in Vancouver. Gasol is 18th in the NBA in total win shares since the 2011-12 season. Kyle Lowry ranks 9th, Kawhi Leonard 14th, Serge Ibaka 23rd. The North. A quick look at the top Canadians in the NBA this season. Jamal Murray, Nuggets, was banged up, but back in action. Andrew Wiggins, Wolves, starting to put some more complete games together. Kelly Olynyk, Heat, working his way out of a slump with struggling Miami. Tristan Thompson, Cavaliers, strange to see Iron Man miss so many games this season. Corey Joseph, Pacers, helping Pacers keep winning despite loss of Oladipo. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Clippers, shooting the ball well. Dwight Powell, Mavericks, rolling now and partnering nicely with Luka Doncic. Dylan Brooks, Grizzlies, a tough year comes to an end due to toe injury. Nick Stauskas, Cavaliers, tough shooting start but will get some run in Cleveland. Trey Lyles, Nuggets, big scoring numbers in 4 of past 5 games. Big NUMBERS, one player averaging at least 27 points, 6 assists and 7 rebounds per game. Kevin Durant, .28 deficit. The Clippers recently overcame against Boston, the largest comeback in franchise history. .30 points scored by James Harden in 30 straight games, before Wednesday. .45 points by Clippers guard Lou Williams. The most by a reserve since 2005, 5 of 5 surging squads, before Wednesday's games. 1. Golden State Warriors, be afraid. Be very afraid. Champs on a 14-1 run. Everything is starting to come together with DeMarcus Cousins on the scene. 2. Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis and co., not far behind at 13-2 in past 15. Bucks can light it up like few other teams and get after it on defense. 3. Oklahoma City Thunder, Paul George and Russell Westbrook have been fantastic recently as Thunder scores at will. Team is playing at a rapid pace. 2.4. Indiana Pacers, nobody is playing better defensively right now than Victor Oladipo. Less Indy. The group is locking opponents down regularly. 5. Toronto Raptors, the grand chemistry experiment continues, but the early returns on Marc Gasol are quite good. He brings something different to the mix. 5. DOWN1. New York Knicks, a franchise record, and not a good one. 17 defeats in a row for James Dolan's merry band of cap space Warriors. 2. Phoenix Suns, DeAndre Ayton's fantastic rookie season is being overlooked because this team is so terrible, and because of Luka Doncic. 3. Chicago Bulls, the good news is Josh Jackson is looking a lot better. The bad news is pretty much everything else. 4. Miami Heat, stumbling and bumbling out of the playoff mix. An ice-cold offense is mostly to blame. Only New York has been worse offensively recently. 5. San Antonio Spurs, Greg Popovich used to have a bunch of great defenders on hand. Now, he does not. Spurs still winning some games, but just barely. New Orleans is stinking. How long can this go on in New Orleans? The Pelicans wisely held on to the best player in franchise history, Anthony Davis, past last Thursday's NBA trade deadline, knowing it would be foolish to accept an offer now when Boston can enter the bidding this summer. The team wanted to shut Davis down, even though he wants to play, but the NBA reportedly threatened heavy fines if they did so here we are. Davis is on the floor, but it isn't the Davis we are all used to. The home fans are booing him and he had the worst game of his career on Tuesday, a dreadful 118-88 Orlando beatdown of the Pelicans. Davis scored 3 points, hitting only 1 of 9 shot attempts. Davis averages 20 shot attempts, just not recently. This entire saga is a prolonged, smug jab at the intelligence of Pelicans fans, who are somehow supposed to believe what they're watching is a normal, competitive athletic event, wrote Scott Kushner in the New Orleans Advocate on Wednesday. "We sucked," Davis said after the loss against Orlando. "Nobody was interested in playing. That's what it looked like. Well, I wonder why that would be the case. Maybe All-Star Drew Holiday is worried about his future after committing to the Pelicans. Maybe the other guys know Davis wanted to bail on them. Maybe Davis doesn't want to get hurt. What a mess. Head coach Alvin Gentry said, "Whatever our new normal is, we want to get back to that. We want to put this stuff behind us. Good luck, this is a disgrace." Kushner wrote, "We agree. Shut Davis down and send him home, even if you have to pay some fines. Get in the high lottery and deal him in the off-season. That's the best of a number of bad options."